The numbers speak volumes. Iran is a recognized name in the fields of art, literature, and science. It would not be an overstatement to say that this ancient land has been the cradle of many sciences, as the teachings, thoughts and discoveries of Iranian scholars continue to influence contemporary human knowledge.
Given its history, the initial assumption would be that in the 21st century, an age where scientific progress occurs in mere seconds, and the education of children and adolescents is pivotal for any nation's advancement, Iran should continue to hold its esteemed position. Regrettably, this is not the reality. The rise of the Mullahs Iran has, first and foremost, left its mark on the educational system.
With the ascent of his fundamentalist regime, grounded in ignorance and superstitions, Ayatollah Khomeini found it imperative to firmly establish these foundations right from the outset. He openly regarded knowledge, scholars, students, and universities as a more significant threat to his system than a cluster bomb.
خطر دانشگاه از خطر بام خوشه‌ای بالاتر است. هر چه فساد تو این مملکت پیدا شد از این اشخاصی بود که در دانشگاه تحصیل کرده بودن، تخصص هم شاید داشتن. هر چه متخصص‌تر بدتر. ما را خواهی نخواهی دانشگاه میکشد به دامن آمریکا یا شوروی. این نمیشد غیر از این، برای اینکه اساس از دانشگاه شروع میشد. دانشگاه بدترین مرکزی است برای اینکه ما را به تباهی بکشد. تمام این مصیبت ها که برای بشر پیش آمده است ریشش از دانشگاه بوده.
Through the closure of universities and the dismantling of the educational system on the pretext of a cultural revolution, he practically converted universities into spaces for the assembly and empowerment of his extremist forces. Up to present day, the Iranian regime has spared no effort to nullify and make this institution ineffective within the fabric of society. Schools and universities now impose conditions on education, requiring adherence to religious beliefs. During a specific period, the mullahs went even further, mandating students to participate in religious interviews as a prerequisite for university admission.
For religious reasons and dissent against the mullahs, countless university professors and school teachers are terminated from their positions or find themselves forced to emigrate. Mariam Mirzakhani, the mathematical prodigy, shared a similar fate.
The primary victims of this ideological position in schools and universities are girls and women. They are obligated to adhere to the government-endorsed Islamic dress, facing expulsion from educational institutions in cases of non-compliance.
The influence of such thinking on Iran's education system extends to the removal of girls' images from elementary school textbooks, and the printing of images of men with beards. Gender-based segregation has occurred in many academic majors, where the selection of these fields is dependent on the gender of the students, whether they are male or female. The cultural and social consequences of this approach are much more destructive. As per the official statistics, 160,000 girls in the province of Sistan, and Balochistan, in eastern Iran, are denied access to education.
Additionally, 50% of students in secondary schools in border provinces end up discontinuing their education, falling victim to child marriages. Every year, a total of 14 million teenage girls, who should be pursuing their studies, fall prey to early marriages. The Iranian regime promotes and facilitates this phenomenon through their refusal to employ female graduates, and the creating of various obstacles hindering their educational advancement.
Last year, there was a series of poisonings targeting girls' schools in Iran. These poisonings occurred immediately after the nationwide protests against the regime in 2022, where girls in schools and universities played a prominent role.
Experts believe that the religious dictatorship of the mullahs sought revenge on the girls due to their active participation in the protests. The educational crisis doesn't confine its effects to girls alone, and its impact extends beyond them. Tens of thousands of child soldiers were sent to the front by the regime during the Iran-Iraq War.
Former head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, Mohsen Rezaei, acknowledged that 36,000 students lost their lives in this conflict. The recruitment of children into the paramilitary base siege of the IRGC continues to be a present-day issue.
Furthermore, the arrest and imprisonment of students in Iran have far-reaching implications. Ali Younisi and Amir Hossein Moradi, two of Iran's academic elites honored with medals at the World Science Olympiads, have been in prison for over 3 years. Many others were arrested or killed by the Revolutionary Guards during the 2022 protests.
So far, the state of education in Iran is apparent, shaped by excluding half of the population, that is, girls and women, from formal schooling. Yet, a brief glance at the reported statistics highlights a more significant socio-cultural tragedy. 4 months ago, a government-affiliated newspaper reported on just a segment of the dire education statistics within the Iranian regime and wrote,
"A month into the new academic year, there's a shortfall of approximately 200,000 teachers and principals, and 23,000 classes are essentially without a teacher. We're lacking 50,000 sports instructors. 7 million pupils and students lack a teacher across diverse fields. We have 1 million students left out of education. The number of children between 6 and 12 years of age who are out of school has doubled. Renovation and reconstruction are needed for hundreds of thousands of rundown classrooms."
The conditions in the border provinces are much worse than reported previously. There are currently 700 clay schools in Iran, and in eastern provinces like Sistan and Balochistan, classes are held in open yards, in buildings without a roof, or in constructions built using wood and woven reed. 96,000 classrooms need to be modified. There is a lack of nearly 50,000 classrooms, and 30% of schools are worn out. As per statements from the Ministry of Education, Iran currently has 107,000 schools comprising 530,000 classrooms. However, since 2003, some 108,000 classrooms have been built with funds provided by charitable entities. In other words, almost 1/5 of all classrooms were built without the government's involvement, and it is unclear what the condition of Iran's educational environment would be without these educational benefactors.
The government causes even more harm. To compensate for its annual budget deficit, they have exposed these schools built with charity funds to the private sector. The result is that many children are deprived of education because their families cannot afford to pay for private fees.
The conditions of dilapidated buildings have caused tragic incidents in schools. In a worn-out school building located in the town of Shinabad, northwest Iran, a fire broke out when an oil heater malfunctioned near a gas pipe. There were previous orders for the building to be demolished, but this never happened. The fire caused severe burn injuries to 32 primary school girls. 6 of them, who had more than 50% burns, were transferred to Tabriz Hospital, more than 100 miles north of Shinabad.
One of the students who witnessed the incident said, "Our teacher went to get the fire extinguisher, but it was empty of liquid. Just when the schoolmaster arrived, the heater caught fire and spread everywhere. Exiting the crowded classroom became difficult. The fenced windows added to the challenge, making it impossible to breathe freely or make a quick getaway."
Instead of addressing the shortage of teachers and university professors by recruiting qualified graduates, the Iranian regime takes actions contrary to finding a solution. They dismiss existing teachers and professors and replace them with government-appointed mullahs and so-called eulogy figures to functions as teachers, with the aim of taking even more control over schools and universities. The final part of this tragic story is about the brain drain from Iran.
As per the data provided by the International Monetary Fund, Iran ranks highest among 91 countries globally in the phenomenon of brain drain. Approximately 180,000 individuals with higher education leave Iran annually. Iran's National Elite Foundation announced that 308 Olympiad medalists and 350 national exam winners have migrated abroad from 2002 to 2006. The brain drain in the recent years has hurt Iran's economy 300 times more than the Iran-Iraq war.
Education in Iran, under the rule of the mullahs, has turned into a major disaster. A Winston Churchill quote captures the essence of these circumstances. "Sometimes war is not needed to destroy a country. It is enough to replace the knowledgeable and prominent people with a few ignorant and stupid politicians."